taking a tour at Ephesus, and one thing I'm really appreciating is just looking at some of the patterns chiseled into the marble, just knowing that somebody close to likely 2,000 years ago chiseled those individual shapes, and now it provides opportunity to try to in some way connect to that time period, to try to understand how we lived in that time and how we can use it to understand our existence today. It's pretty cool thinking about impact in that way. They're explaining that apparently this is a social environment, so while you're doing your business, you're also getting the local news. So this is the Library of Celsius. It was dedicated to a well-respected man named Celsius, and that's one of the interesting things we're learning about in this tour, that many of the buildings are either dedicated to god or goddesses or prominent figures. And it's an interesting way to think about legacy, that if you made some sort of impact during this time, granted a lot of, within the Roman Empire, or at least within Ephesus, they said the peak population was 250,000, that most of the population other than the lower classes could read. But otherwise, it seems like if you made an impact, one of the ways that you were immortalized was through the construction of buildings around the city. Of course, similar practices exist today, but obviously the construction of our buildings is a little different when the way that we construct our buildings isn't necessarily made to last, whereas in this time when you're building with marble, it can be excavated to this day and the material is still often intact. Mariah, what's standing out to you on this tour?
How well preserved some of this stuff is, even knowing that it was found like scattered on the ground because of earthquakes and then they rebuilt it, but it's just so ornate, and all the passion that they put into carving, sculpting this marble into
intense detail orientation.
Yes.
One more thought we were just talking about is just so with the high literacy rate, can't imagine that a lot of people had scrolls given that they were all handwritten. It wasn't the Gutenberg press, right before the Renaissance, you're able to scale production of books. But here, I imagine you have to come to this Library of Celsius to read them in place. So you can only imagine the conversations that were had. It's cool imagining a social life during this time when people have to literally use public toilets and just vibe, or they're talking about the public baths that they had and how a lot of conversations were had there in this library. So it's cool imagining the social dynamic for us. Now it's all on Instagram, baby. A little refreshing drink. I find this theater extremely impressive because at its peak it had a capacity of 25,000, which is comparable to a basketball arena, or if you go to a concert and go to a Taylor Swift concert or something, an arena tour will have about 20K. So that's really cool that 2,000 years ago they were able to congregate that many people and didn't have speakers. So it really just shows the height of the Roman Empire's power, and obviously this is more Greco-Roman, but I found that interesting. What about you?
Elton John played here, and Sting, so I bet those were really fun to hear in person. They still do active concerts, so season starts in October if you want to come.
Yep. And we just did an immersive experience, which is 3D projections, and kind of shows some of the visualizations, what it was like during the time of the reign here, and it was beautiful. It was really cool to imagine it in color and in 3 dimensions, especially after just walking through the ruins. So overall, this has been an awesome experience, well worth the tour. We just got to Izmir. Now we're trying some baklava. Nice. I read somewhere online that typically there's 40 sheets of paper for professionally made baklava, but homemade apparently is closer to 20. So don't fact check me on that. Or actually fact check me on that, don't quote me on that. It's delightful.
It's crunchy. It's not cinnamon, but it's cinnamony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that edge.
I really like it.
Yeah, it's tasty. The baklava had a bit of a condensed milk flavor, and the syrup so juicy, just seeped in through the layers. It was amazing.